gamers, I think Brawl Star might be in trouble again. The sneak peeks are officially over with, and upon scrolling through my timeline, I have noticed an incredible amount of negative posts being posted about my favorite Brawl Star. How could my Brawl Star get hate? Who know? We have this big post bringing up a bunch of different problems. I'm gonna go through these. I'm gonna let you know what I agree with, what I don't agree with, and then we also have a lot of other posts to go through. It's just been all over my timeline, so I thought, why not just make an entire video about all the negative things people are saying, and then the next video that I do on Reddit will just be positive things. And the reason I'm doing this in the first place is because I kind of agree that there are some problems, but I feel like we should iron out which ones are the actual problems and which ones don't really matter. Another problem I've noticed is that a lot of you watching are not subscribed, and we're reaching 1 million pretty soon, so you know, you should do it. Also, join my Discord server, the link's in the description. Problem numero uno is terrible balancing. This game just keeps releasing OP after OP brawler, refusing to nerf them for months, and keeping terrible brawlers like Bonnie in the F tier. I can definitely agree with this one, but also a lot of people were calling me dumb for thinking that Meeple's gonna be a powerful brawler. No matter what, I will guarantee you that brawler will be like a 100% ban rate in knockout and ranked. I just don't see that brawler existing in the mode. I don't think Meeple is going to be the weakest guy in the world, but I did notice that some other content creators were calling him like the worst brawler in history. So who knows, bro? I just think that when you have a gadget that throws a wall down and your attacks automatically hit people and you could shoot through walls, it might be a little broken, but his reload speed, it's pretty bad. As for like Kenji, Mo, and everybody before them, I agree these brawlers have been ridiculously broken, and they are still in the meta, but at least with this last update, the two brawlers are seemingly either just balanced or straight up bad. Like, people are saying that Ali is the worst brawler. He can't even kill Poco, so that says something, right? Issue number 2, temporary brawlers. This is something I brought up during my Brawl Talk reaction video with Buzz Lightyear. Extension of the previous problem, OP temporary brawlers who ruin the game for everyone and do nothing for the Brawl IP. This is their first time trying this, and if this doesn't perform well, which it doesn't really seem like it will, then they're probably not going to do it again. I personally don't think it's a great idea. It reminds me of any time Fortnite would add like an extremely broken item to the game, especially if it's a collab. That just makes it even more annoying. Everybody's using it. Everybody who uses it wins, and the originality of the gameplay just disappears until they remove this broken thing. So I definitely agree with number 2. Number 3 kind of goes along with that. Temporary features. Again, same problem. Temporary stuff that makes the game unplayable for a month and is bad for new players who will never get to experience it. But I think the bigger problem with this is that these recent updates for the last like half a year haven't really seemed to add that much at all to the longevity of the game. Like, I think the last actually big and impactful feature they've added that has stayed in the game was a long time ago. Number 4, too big of a focus on collabs. Brawl Stars just keeps focusing on collabs while ignoring their IP. I 100% agree with this one, which made them popular in the first place, just like what Fortnite does. It's the same thing. Replacing events like the Moon Festival and Brawl Days with dumb collabs. Yeah, like all these old things that they used to do. Maybe they're just like bored of it, or now that they have collabs, they're just like, who cares anymore? But this is what they're doing now. Not to say that I don't like SpongeBob. That was my entire childhood. Toy Story as well. I think the big problem lies in where the game loses its own identity. You don't really see this as Brawl Stars anymore. You see this as Sponge Stars. And I personally don't like that when games have a collab and then they theme their entire game around it. Because if there's somebody out there who doesn't like the collab, which I'm sure a lot of people don't for each collab, they are force-fed that collab for an entire month. And when you're force-fed something that you really don't care about, when you're just trying to play a game that you've familiarized yourself with for the last 7 years, it gets a little stale pretty fast, and then you probably stop playing for a bit. I personally miss when games would do a collab and it's just like skins and then a side mode that you can play if you want to, not forcing you to actually interact with it the whole time. But I could also see the argument where, like, if there's this huge IP coming into Brawl Stars, you kind of want to show it off. That makes sense to me too. But like, from my perspective, if I'm playing a game and they're shoving something I don't care about down my throat, I'm gonna lose interest pretty quick. Number 5, too many new trios and brawlers. Speaks for itself. Star Park has become too big with a billion trillion trios. Kit has been alone for a year. The Velocirapids trio have been incomplete for 3 years. So on the lower side of things, I can see how people could be annoyed with that. I really don't care though. As for too many new brawlers, what I think they should do is just go to 100 and then slow it down to 1 per update. Because I think that 2 per update at that point is going to be overkill. That's just how I see it. Let's go to 100 and then let's slow things down from there. Forgetting unpopular brawlers. It took them 500 plus days to give Gray a new skin, while Fang and Colt get a skin pretty much every update. Bonnie, Hank, Doug all have been in the F tier for months, and they do nothing about it. I think that this is a problem that every game has, not specifically Brawl Stars. If there's a character that nobody plays, then that means that nobody's gonna buy their skins. Therefore, the more popular the brawler, the more often people are gonna buy their skins, and then more money. I think there's also the case where it's kind of difficult to take a brawler's silhouette and turn them into something else. Doug is a giant wiener. Like, I feel like that's got to be at least a little confusing. They could add more brawlers to each balance change, like handpick 5 brawlers who just absolutely suck right now and buff them at least a little bit, because I see a lot of the time where like 3+ months go by or even longer and the same weak brawler who hasn't received a buff still doesn't. So they just stay weak and nothing really changes about them. I think that's a little bit boring. I think that there should be a little bit more change specifically for the brawlers who just suck and have sucked for a while. Number 7, forgotten features. Are we ever getting new mythic gears? I've been waiting for a map maker rework for years too. Did they forget? And I think this question ties into everything else. I think that the collabs and all these temporary features which have been clouding every update recently, and I'm talking about every update, at least like 50% of the content in a lot of these recent updates have just been temporary things that are now gone. All those things we got to use, they're just gone. And what do we have in the aftermath? Not much new for the last like 6 months. I think if we go back in time 6 months, it would be pretty much the same game. But yeah, that's the whole thread. That's my thoughts on it. Go check out the Twitter account for yourself if you want to. It's right here on your screen. Aylin141414. But let's move on to the Reddit. Let's see what other people are thinking, because I said that there's a lot more people complaining right now. And a lot of these posts have a lot of upvotes, which is another reason why I'm making this video. Like, these posts are not only frequent, but they are getting a lot of attention. Why is this hot garbage in the Megatree event? I haven't played this event yet. It's a game mode where everybody has 1 HP and everybody just has a straight shot Piper bullet. I think the concept is pretty interesting and cool, and I think that if you're losing at this really hard, then it might just be a skill issue. I personally don't think it's like a horrible thing, but like maybe it's not a good thing to add to this event where everything else besides this is different. Hot take, the game is in its worst state. You can't play a single mode without at least 5 Buzz Lightyears. It's unplayable right now. I was expecting this post to say a little bit more, but I can tell that the temporary brawler is kind of ruining the ladder right now. It was kind of expected, even though when testing him, it seemed like most of his modes weren't that powerful. I guess they actually are, and we have to deal with this for a while. I feel bad for Meeple. So this is a post basically calling Meeple bad. I think that Carnage Games said that Meeple was like the worst brawler he's ever reviewed, which kind of makes sense because a lot of these brawlers were overpowered, but I don't think that Meeple's even like the weakest brawler in history. I don't think that's the case at all. Like I said before, he's gonna get banned in certain modes. He's going to absolutely bully people in certain modes and maps. That's just how it's gonna be. This character will not be bad everywhere, but he will be bad in some places. But the point of this post is saying that he doesn't have early access, so they made him weaker on purpose. I think the big problem with the brawler is literally just his reload speed. That's the only problem that he has, but I think he needs the slow reload speed because his attacks do decent damage, have good range, and then they automatically hit you. Like, do not give this brawler a fast reload speed. That will make him so broken. So those rare skins still coming out, or question mark? I think I forgot something. If you forgot, then it wasn't important. Yeah, you're right. Honestly, I don't even remember these skins. They'll be in the game eventually, I think, so this isn't really a big issue. King Frank is available now after years of not being available, and he costs like 300 bucks. I think this is both like a cool thing and also a really bad thing. It is a cool thing in the sense where players who spend a lot of money get rewarded, but the fact that it's like 300 bucks for a skin and it uses all of your points to get that sucks a little bit. But I guess you also get like the gems that you bought in the first place, so it's more of so a bonus, and people shouldn't just be buying gems only to get this skin. That's definitely not what you should be doing. But yeah, that's the whole King Frank fiasco. Another thing I've been seeing people complain about a lot recently is that you have to have Surge unlocked to get the Surge Lightyear skin. That is not great. I think there have been some cases, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, where you could get a skin for a brawler before you unlock them, and if that ever was a thing, then I think it should be that again here. All I know for sure is that you could get a hypercharge before you unlock the brawler. I don't know about skins. This is a Toy Story collab. A lot of kids love Toy Story, or a lot of adults who watched it as a kid, same deal. But imagine being a newer player and then you see this amazing collab for Toy Story, but you can't even get the biggest feature of the update, like one of the only things that's sticking around after the update, because you don't have this legendary brawler. I think the bigger problem here lies in the fact that Surge is a legendary, He's expensive. He's hard to get. You probably get him near the end of the road. So majority of newer players most likely don't even have him. Or imagine they just skipped him earlier on the road and now they can't get him for months. Like, the event's going to end before you could possibly get him, unless you drop like 20 bucks. In cases like this where the skin is FOMO and it might not come back for a while, you should be able to store it. I think that's just fair. I'm going to end it off with this entire encyclopedia of a post. Can we all agree that this Brawl Days has been the worst one so far? Ladder is unplayable due to Buzz Lightyear. The rewards are lackluster. 25 wins in the Mega Tree is 1 present. They even nerfed the rewards on the Buzz Lightyear track from 25 to 6 presents. They locked King Knight Frank behind $300 paywall on the Supercell store. They introduced temporary brawlers, which could be a predatory tactic in the future because they use people's FOMO, fear of missing out. All in all, this Brawl Days has definitely been the worst so far. I'm just sad that the game has been declining in terms of free to play, and the fact that there are still people denying and defending Supercell for this is crazy. This is a huge post with huge words, and seeing as we already talked about most of this and this is more so a synopsis, I'm just gonna go ahead and say I agree with a good part of this, and then I slightly disagree with some of it. Like, I don't think that a temporary brawler is a predatory tactic because it's FOMO. Like, everybody gets the brawler. I think that a predatory tactic with FOMO is when you release like a skin that goes away forever. You release something that people can only unlock within a certain time period, and then if you miss that, good luck. Like, you're done. You will never get this thing ever again. But yeah, Brawl Stars may be in shambles right now. At least the community is. People cannot seem to agree on anything, but I think the majority of people are saying that the game is not in a good state. So hopefully some of these things get fixed in the future. I really hope that temporary features are going to not happen as often. Like, I really hope that in one of these next few updates, we actually get an impactful feature that will affect the future of the game forever, you know? Like, we haven't seen that in a while. But yeah, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Good night.